Okay, think about it for a sec. Your morning routine, the moisturizer, the shampoo, maybe some conditioner, feels pretty personal, right? But those choices, they're part of this huge global industry. And it's not just big, it's constantly changing shape. So today on the deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain a bit. We want to uncover what's really driving the global face and hair care market. We've got this really comprehensive market analysis report. It covers 2021 right through to 2033 projections. Our mission, basically, to figure out where things stand now, where they're heading, and what's behind all these shifts. Think of it as a shortcut, yeah? To getting smart about this massive consumer goods area that, well, touches almost everyone.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how these aren't just product trends. They actually mirror bigger things like global consumer behavior, economic shifts. We're talking billions of dollars moving around, all because of how people are thinking differently about beauty, about wellness.
That's such a good point. It really sets the stage for why we're seeing this kind of growth. So let's jump into the big picture first, because the numbers are, frankly, pretty impressive. Back in 2021, the global market, already a solid almost $268.5 billion.
Wow.
And look ahead, the forecast is $317.4 billion by 2025. Keep going, and it surges to nearly $443.6 billion by 2033.
Huge numbers.
Right, and that's a steady growth, too, over 4.2% compound annual growth rate. It really shows this isn't just a blip, it's sustained.
Yeah. And that kind of steady climb, it doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
There's some really clear macro drivers behind it. Like, think about how beauty standards themselves are shifting globally.
Yeah.
You've got skinimalism becoming a thing, healthy skin,
Yeah.
fewer products.
Totally different from those, like, 10-step routines.
Exactly. Or the push for sustainable packaging, ethically sourced ingredients. Consumers care about that now. They're buying values, not just stuff. Plus, people are just more aware, right? About ingredients, what works. And there's this whole self-care movement. And maybe the biggest piece, rising disposable income around the world. More people can actually afford to invest in these products. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do these huge global trends actually affect what you see on the shelf or the ads you see?
Oh, totally. I mean, think about K-beauty. A few years back, pretty niche, right? Now it's everywhere.
Right.
Shows how fast things can shift from global to local, which actually is a perfect lead into our next bit, because the regional story, that's where it gets really fascinating. Let's talk about where the money really is and where the fastest growth is happening. Top of the list, no contest, Asia Pacific.
Yeah, that region's a giant.
It's not just the size, it's the speed. Asia Pacific was just over $100 billion in 2021, projected to hit over $177 billion by 2033. That's the highest regional growth rate, nearly 4.9%.
Almost 5%. Impressive.
Within that, you've got China and India, the big two. China's going from about $27.5 billion up to almost $50 billion. But listen to this, India. Growing even faster. Its market's set to more than double, hitting over $26.4 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR over 5.7%.
Wow, that's rapid growth.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not just them. Singapore, Southeast Asia, also growing over 5%. Plus steady growth in Japan, South Korea, Australia. It's broad-based.
And the why behind that, especially in places like India and China, it ties directly back to demographics.
Yeah.
Specifically, the rising middle class.
Right. More disposable income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That percentage difference in growth rate for India might seem small, but apply it to billions of dollars.
Yeah.
It means they're adding consumers, building out that market at an incredible pace.
Yeah.
As people move into that middle income bracket, a chunk of that new money goes towards personal care, towards beauty. It just unlocks massive potential.
Okay, so Asia Pacific is booming. Let's swing over to North America. Still a huge player, obviously. Over $76.5 billion in 2021, heading towards almost $118 billion by 2033.
Solid numbers.
The U.S. leads, no surprise, almost $64 billion, growing to $97 billion. But interestingly, Canada's actually growing faster in percentage terms, over 4.4% CAGR.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, climbing from $7.6 billion to nearly $13 billion. So North America's steady, significant, but, different dynamics within the region. Then there's Europe. Market sit around $54 billion in 2021, projected to reach almost $84 billion by 2033.
Right.
And within Europe, Germany's actually showing the strongest growth rate, almost 4.5%, going from just under $11 billion to over $18 billion.
You're me leading the pack there.
Yeah. Then you've got the UK, France, Italy contributing strongly too, plus Spain and Sweden showing decent growth as well.
So if you compare North America and Europe to Asia Pacific.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like you said, established markets versus emerging ones.
Yeah, exactly.
North America and Europe, they're mature markets.
Yeah.
Growth there is more about maybe premium products, shifting preferences within an existing base. Asia Pacific, though, that's where you see this huge wave of new consumers entering the market.
Yeah.
That's driving that super fast expansion from, a lower starting point per person.
Right.
It really highlights where the kind of the frontier is for growth and how economic development changes the game.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so beyond the big three, let's touch on some other areas that are really starting to make waves. These often less discussed growth frontiers. The rising stars. Like South America, it's really coming into its own. Almost $17 billion back in 2021, set to climb to nearly $29 billion by 2033. That's a solid 4.5% growth rate.
Not too strong.
Brazil's the biggest in volume, obviously, growing to over $11 billion. But Argentina, showing really impressive growth, over 5% CAGR.
Wow.
And places like Colombia, Peru, and especially Chile also seeing really strong gains. It shows that self-care spending is definitely on the rise across the continent.
Good point.
Then the Middle East. Over $12.6 billion in 2021, heading for over $21 billion by 2033. You see strong potential pretty much across the board, but especially Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE, all growing over 4.5%. UAE over 5%.
Yeah, that whole region has significant potential.
Definitely. And finally, Africa. Also reliable growth here, expanding from about $8.3 billion to over $14 billion by 2033.
Steady growth.
And within Africa, South Africa really stands out. It's growing from $3.5 billion to over $6.2 billion. That's over 4.3% growth. Nigeria is contributing relatively too.
So if you look across all these, South America, Middle East, Africa, what's the common thread? It seems like it's that mix again, isn't it? Those evolving beauty ideas we talked about, but also, maybe crucially, digital influence.
Ah, yeah, the online piece.
Right. Digital platforms just speed everything up. Trends spread faster, product awareness gets out there quicker, connecting consumers in these regions to like the global beauty chat almost instantly.
Yeah, you see something online, suddenly it's in demand locally.
Exactly. It's that dynamic where global trends land, but then they get adapted locally, which adds its own unique flavor and fuels growth even more.
Okay, so we've crunched a lot of numbers, looked at a lot of regions. Let's pull it all together. What's the big so what here? The main takeaway seems crystal clear. This face and hair care industry, it's massive, yes, but it's also incredibly dynamic, resilient, and just heading upwards consistently.
Absolutely. You can't deny the momentum. And those core drivers are strong. Beauty standards changing, consumers getting smarter, more income in pockets globally, the huge impact of digital, and of course that rising middle class, especially in emerging markets. It's like a perfect storm for growth.
Right.
So turning it back to you, the listener, what does this all mean for you personally? How might this huge global surge in beauty and personal care actually change the products you see?
Yeah.
The innovations, availability, even the trends that go mainstream?
Yeah, it's not just abstract numbers, is it?
No, not at all. It subtly shapes your choices, your view of beauty, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah. So this deep dive really underlined it. Face and hair care is on a solid upward path globally, driven by this really interesting mix of economics, culture, digital, everything, really. And maybe just one final thought to leave you with. Considering that explosive growth we talked about in places like India, Southeast Asia, how might their beauty standards, their consumer preferences start to ripple outwards? Could they actually reshape what we all think of as mainstream beauty in the next 10 years or so? It's a global conversation now, for sure.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, well, we're tackling an industry that's part of almost everyone's daily routine. We're talking about the global face and hair care products market. Now, this is a huge, huge area. It's constantly changing, and honestly, keeping up can feel like a full-time job. But that's what we're here for, right? To cut through that noise, find the really interesting bits, the important trends, and, deliver that key knowledge straight to you. We're going to look at how this industry, with its deep roots, is adapting to, well, everything. Digital life, health trends, personalization. Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even start? I think we have to begin with what's really fueling all this growth. And that really, it comes down to us, the consumer. So yeah, let's talk about those big forces pushing the market forward. The first one, and maybe the biggest game changer, is how we think about personal care now. It's not just, oh, I have a problem, I need a product anymore. We're seeing this real shift. People prioritizing, you could call it a skin health journey or maybe holistic hair wellness. It's deeper than just looks.
It feels like it's tied into overall well-being now. You've been watching consumer
Mhm.
behavior for a long time. This change, from just reacting to problems to being really proactive, setting up routines for anti-aging or scalp health before things go wrong.
Mhm.
Is this just like a phase, or is it a fundamental shift in how we handle personal care?
Oh, it's absolutely a fundamental shift, a long-term recalibration, I'd say. What's really fascinating is consumers aren't just grabbing products off the shelf anymore. They're investing in solutions that actually fit into their whole lifestyle. And this proactive approach, well, it puts pressure on brands, doesn't it? They need constant innovation, digging deeper into the science, understanding things like the microbiome, maybe even linking products to nutrition or stress. It's all about prevention, optimization, not just fixing things after the fact.
That makes total sense. And working alongside this consumer shift is, of course, the digital wave. You can't ignore it. E-commerce, social media, they haven't just tweaked how things are sold. They've completely rewritten the rule book for marketing, for distribution. We've really moved past old school ads towards, direct to consumer, D2C, which means these smaller, maybe niche or premium brands, they can connect directly with you, the customer, without needing a big retailer in the middle.
Yeah, and just think about the power of online communities. You've got influencers, bloggers, even dermatologists popping up on Instagram or TikTok. They're not just showing off products. They're doing tutorials, giving really honest reviews sometimes. It creates a kind of transparency we just didn't have, say, 10 years ago. So suddenly shoppers are way more informed, maybe more inspired, but also probably more skeptical too, right?
Exactly. More discerning is a good word for it.
Yeah.
And then there's the third big driver, which feels like it's been building for a while but is really peaking now, the natural and organic movement. This isn't just a small preference anymore. It feels like it's about trust. People are getting really health conscious, flipping over bottles, reading labels, looking for herbal stuff, plant-based, chemical-free. You see it everywhere, right? Aloe in moisturizers, argan oil in shampoos.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, like you said, it's not just for the eco-warrior type anymore. For whole generations, especially millennials and Gen Z, it's basically table stakes. They expect clean ingredients, sure, but also sustainable sourcing, ethical practices, brands that actually stand for something. If a brand isn't transparent about where its stuff comes from and how it's made, they're not just risking sales, they're risking their whole reputation, their credibility. It forces everyone, the whole supply chain, to step up.
Wow. When you put all this together, the proactive consumer, the digital influence, the demand for naturals, it sounds like, well, an unstoppable combination. But, no market's perfect or have got to be bumps in the road. What are some of the main hurdles brands are facing right now?
Well, one pretty persistent issue is the cost, especially for those premium, high-tech, or very specialized products. Consumer interest is definitely there. People want the fancy serums, the clean formulations. But those higher price tags, they create a barrier and accessibility problem. You see this quite clearly in, say, emerging markets and parts of Southeast Asia, Latin America. There's huge aspiration for advanced skincare, but maybe not always the disposable income to match the prices you see in major beauty stores.
Yeah, that definitely suggests a kind of split market developing.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of fancy formulations. Sometimes they just don't agree with everyone's skin, right? Product sensitivities, reactions.
A very real concern.
If a product isn't properly tested, maybe lacks clear labeling about potential irritants, it can backfire.
Yeah.
And a bad reaction. That really kills trust. It impacts whether someone buys, again, their loyalty to the brand. And loyalty is everything in this business.
Absolutely. It's the foundation.
And maybe one of the trickier, more damaging threats, particularly where regulations might be a bit looser, is counterfeits, imitation products.
Oh, that's a huge one.
These fake or just low-quality products are scarily common, aren't they? Often sold through dodgy online sellers.
Yes, very much so.
And it's harmful in two ways. It trashes the reputation of the real brand, and worse, it's a serious health risk. People putting unknown chemicals on their skin or hair.
It's incredibly serious. And it raises that crucial question, how do brands protect their reputation, maintain trust when fakes can pop up so easily? We are starting to see some interesting moves, though. Brands exploring tech solutions, things like blockchain maybe, to track products. So you, the consumer, could potentially verify if something is genuine, right from the factory to the shelf. It's a necessary step, really, to protect both the brand and, more importantly, the consumer.
That's a vital point. protecting trust in such a crowded, sometimes confusing market.
Well,
But okay, let's shift focus now to what's coming next, because this is where things get really, really interesting. The future trends. And forget one size fits all. The first massive trend has to be customization, personalization,
sure.
driven by AI. People don't just want a product, they want their product tailored specifically to them.
Exactly. It's hyper-personalization.
And technology is making it happen. AI, data analytics, it's going way beyond those simple online quizzes we used to see. Now brands are offering like virtual skin analysis using your phone's camera or using clever algorithms that look at everything. Your skin type, sure, but also your local climate, your lifestyle, maybe even your skin's microbiome, and then recommending or even formulating a unique product just for you. Imagine that. A serum mixed just for your skin for this specific time.
It's revolutionary.
It completely changes how people engage with brands, and well, it must boost satisfaction massively if it works.
It really does. And then also incredibly transformative is this move towards gender neutral and genuinely inclusive product lines. The market's definitely moving past the old for men, for women categories.
Yeah, you see it more and more. Unisex moisturizers, hair care designed for specific hair types or textures, not just for a gender, period.
Right. And if we, zoom out a bit, connect this to the bigger picture, these trends, personalization, inclusivity, they mirror much bigger shifts happening in society towards valuing individuality, celebrating diversity, and taking a more, data-informed approach to our own health and wellness. It's not just about what the product does anymore. It's about how it fits with your identity, your values, even your personal data. It really pushes brands to think way beyond simple demographics, to be more fluid, more respectful, more personal in their approach.
That's perfectly put. So if we try to pull all these threads together, this global face and hair care market is being dramatically reshaped. It's a mix, isn't it? It's how we are changing, being more proactive about beauty and wellness, plus the huge impact of digital life, social media, online shopping. And layered on top are these evolving values around natural ingredients, sustainability, inclusivity. But as we discussed, it's not all smooth sailing. There are still real challenges. Making premium stuff affordable, dealing with skin sensitivities, fighting off those dangerous counterfeits.
Exactly. And I think the key takeaway, whether you're a brand operating in the space or just a consumer trying to navigate it, is that staying aligned with what people expect is absolutely crucial. And that's expectations on both levels. The functional, does this product work level, and the emotional, does this brand resonate with me level. That alignment, that trust, is what will determine long-term success in such a fast-moving, dynamic industry. It's about adapting constantly while building that core trust.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe think about this. As these super personalized, AI-driven solutions become more common, how might that change what personal care even means to you in the next few years? Will our routines end up being totally guided by data, by algorithms, or will that human touch self-expression, the fun of discovering something new, even embracing imperfections, will that still matter most? How does this potential shift make you feel as a consumer? Empowered? Maybe a little overwhelmed? Definitely something to keep thinking about as this market continues to evolve. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep reflecting,